The twin suns blazed mercilessly over the dunes of Zerethus. Heat shimmered like liquid glass, swallowing the horizon in waves. Somewhere among the endless sands, a caravan had passed just hours earlier. Its banners bore the insignia of House Varen, one of the wealthiest and most feared baronies in the sector. But the caravan had left something behind. She lay half buried in the sand, her body twisted, her breathing ragged. A brace of tarnished metal encased her left leg, broken wires sparking faintly where they had failed. Once, she had been clothed in silks. Now her garments were torn, dust grinding into the fabric. Her name was Selira Varen, daughter of Baron Varen, though that name meant nothing now. Her father had abandoned her. She had been born with a crippled leg, a flaw her father could not abide. To the Baron, strength defined worth, and weakness was a shame that tarnished his pride. For years, Selira had endured his disdain, hidden away in the shadowed halls of his fortress. When the caravan departed this morning, he had left her here, discarded like broken machinery. Her lips cracked as she whispered, "Water," but there was none. Only the desert, vast and merciless. Hours passed. The suns burned higher. Selira's vision blurred, her body trembling as if her bones were splintering apart. She knew she would die here, nameless in the sand, just as her father had intended. And then, through the shimmering heat, a shadow approached. At first she thought it was a mirage. But the figure grew clearer, a human, tall, wrapped in a sand cloak, a pack slung across his shoulders. His steps were steady, purposeful. He knelt beside her. His face was weathered, skin sun-browned, eyes sharp beneath the hood. "You're alive," he murmured, surprise flickering across his features. "Barely." Her throat rasped. Leave me." "My father." "Your father?" the man asked. His gaze swept over her ruined brace, the cracked lips, the discarded silks. Understanding hardened in his eyes. "He did this." She closed her eyes. "I am nothing." The man's jaw tightened. "That's a lie." He reached into his pack and drew out a flask, pressing it to her lips. Cool water touched her tongue, flooding her senses. She drank greedily until he pulled it away. "My name's Joran," he said. "You're coming with me." Selira drifted in and out of consciousness as Joran carried her across the dunes. His steps were slow but steady, never faltering though the desert fought to swallow them whole. At last, they reached a cluster of rock shelters carved into the cliffs. Inside, the air was cooler, shaded from the suns. Joran laid her on a cot, his hands surprisingly gentle for someone so scarred. He cleaned the sand from her wounds, repaired what he could of her brace, and gave her more water. When she finally stirred, fully awake, she whispered, "Why?" He met her gaze. "Because no one deserves to be thrown away." The days that followed blurred together. Selira's body regained strength slowly, but her spirit lagged behind. She had been taught her whole life that her crippled leg made her worthless, a disgrace to her bloodline. Each time Joran urged her to eat, to practice walking, she answered with bitterness, "I cannot. I am broken." One evening, as the desert winds howled outside, Joran set down a small device on the table between them. It was a salvaged drone, half crushed, its circuits fried. "See this?" he said. "Worthless, right?" She nodded faintly. "Not to me." He picked up a tool and began repairing it with deft hands. Everything broken can be rebuilt. Different, maybe, but still useful, still valuable. He looked at her then, and she realized his words weren't about the drone at all. Her chest ached. "I don't know how." His expression softened. "Then I'll teach you." The teaching began the next morning. Joran was a salvageu, a human who scoured the deserts for scraps of technology left behind by battles and caravans. He taught Selira how to sort metals, how to strip wires, how to identify parts that still held value. At first she fumbled, her brace stiff and her hands weak. But Joran never raised his voice, never mocked her mistakes. Instead, he encouraged her. Try again. You're learning. As days passed, she began to change. The desert heat still weighed heavy, but her movements grew steadier. Her mind, dulled by years of shame, sharpened with a thrill of discovery. She found herself smiling, small, uncertain smiles, but real. And slowly, she began to believe she was more than her father's discarded daughter. Weeks turned into months. Selira grew adept at salvaging, even creating small devices of her own from scraps, tools Joran admitted he'd never thought to build. Her crippled legs still ached, but she found ways to work around it, inventing braces and supports that made her stronger. One night, as they sat by the fire, she whispered, "My father called me a burden, said I would bring nothing but shame." Joran looked into the flames. "Your father's a fool. Shame isn't weakness. It's cruelty. And cruelty only destroys." Her eyes burned with tears. No one had ever spoken against the Baron so openly. "You see nothing but a cripple," she whispered bitterly. Joran turned to her, his voice firm. "No. I see someone who survived. Someone who learns, who builds, who refuses to quit. You're stronger than he'll ever be." Her heart thudded wildly. For the first time, she believed it might be true. But peace never lasted long in the desert. One afternoon, a caravan cresting the dunes flew banners of House Varen. Selira froze when she saw them, terror clutching her chest. If they found her alive, they would finish what her father had begun. Joran gripped her shoulder. "Stay here. I'll handle it." But Selira shook her head. "No, not this time." When the Baron soldiers arrived, demanding supplies and sneering at the crippled daughter who should have died, Selira stepped forward. Her brace clicked as she walked, but her voice was steady. "I am Selira Varen," she declared, "and I am no one's burden." The soldiers laughed, moving to seize her, until Joran leveled his rifle at them. His eyes blazed. "She's under my protection. Leave. Now." Something in his tone, unyielding, human, made the soldiers falter. With muttered curses, they retreated, the caravan rolling on into the dunes. Selira's breath shook, but she stood tall. For once, she had not cowered. Afterward, she turned to Joran. "You risked everything." He shrugged, though his jaw was tight. "I told you, no one deserves to be thrown away." Her voice trembled. "You gave me more than shelter. You gave me a life." He smiled faintly. "No. You made your own life. I just gave you a chance." Years later, stories spread through the frontier of a human salvager and his alien partner who built wonders from the desert's wreckage. Together they crafted machines that powered villages, water purifiers that saved lives, devices that turned barren sands into fertile ground. Selira became known not as the Baron's crippled daughter, but as the inventor of Zerethis. And though the shame of abandonment never fully left her, she carried something stronger, the memory of the man who had knelt beside her in the sand and seen not weakness, but potential. Her father had left her to die, but a human had seen her true worth and changed her fate forever.